Hey, this is Sean Mathis, and today is Friday, November 30th, 2018. And this is journal number 2 of an adventure in oil futures trading. So, derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You probably have to be a little crazy to trade futures. The risk of loss is high, but so is the potential reward. Just like today was not a very fun day for me, but that's how it goes sometimes. So today what I'm going to go through is my trades that I took today, my overall context and read of the market, and wrap it up with thoughts on what I need to do from here, what is my plan. And it's Friday, so not always the funnest thing to go into the weekend with, not the greatest of days, but I just had a really hard time getting a read on the market today. I took 6 trades, probably could have passed on a few of them. And I started out with a plan, and when the context and the read of the market didn't really work out as I had anticipated, I got a little lost in my read. So what I'm going to do is just go through, first of all, the context of the market, and what we do for that is go to our 15-minute charts here. So you can see this is where the market started out. So this is 7 o'clock right here. So you can see we opened out of value. So we're below right here, yesterday's value area low. So right away, my expectation was that we most likely were going to test down underneath the previous low. And we can see that on yesterday's low was down here, about right at this area. So this is new territory. Oil hasn't been down in this area for a very long time, but it looked like it might test down to break out of this value where we've been at for about the last 4, 5, 6 days. And so that was my plan, to try to get short and initially and see what happened when we tested yesterday's low. So as you can see, this, or actually it wasn't yesterday's low, or was it? Let me see. Yeah, it was yesterday's low. And it's back here a little bit. So yesterday's low was right here. You can see it marked by that low at 49.42. So what happened? Price opened in value at 7 o'clock right here, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and proceeded to come right down through, breaking through the overnight low. So my first trade that I put on was at 735.35, and that was a short trade. So we'll go to the 3-minute chart and see where I put that on. So right away after this imbalance move down that happened after the market opened, I wasn't able to get short, but my thoughts were right away that we most likely are going to try to hold the lower side of this value. And we have this big imbalance move down, followed by this move back up. So at this point, I am looking to where price, from this imbalance move, where did sellers step back in? And that's about right here. So at this point, I'm looking at this bar here for a failure. So at 728, I have a setup with the expectation that the market is going to move down to test that yesterday's low or in that area. So let's go back here, and this will show what happened again. You can see on the 1-minute chart, it's a little more clear. The only issue with this trade, and again I can hear my old mentor saying that we also have a low failure here. We have a failure of this imbalance move down, but since I'm anticipating prices to move lower, we reject price here. And at this point, this is what I'm looking to get short. So I enter here at 20. So my expectation is to test break down below this low, and then I'll watch. So generally the way I used to trade anyway, and this is still according to my plan because I haven't modified it yet, this is my de-risk. This bar low right here is where I would de-risk the trade, where my stop would be up here about 30, 32, 33. And so this isn't the safest failure because I also, it wouldn't be bad to see to see this high test and fail back down. But since seller stepped in here, this is the failure of those where those sellers stepped in. So anyway, I was filled here, which was a good entry, and pretty quickly here price began to work down. Now on this green bar move down, I de-risked. So I took that off I moved my stop to break even on the break of this bar low. And so what happened, when we broke that bar low on this bar, I went break even. And as price came back up right here, it took me out to the tick. And that's realistic. That's exactly how it would be on real trading. So if this was a live account. So very frustrating because what you can see happens right after that. It rips way right down and goes straight to my target. And this is already down to 83. So that's almost 40 ticks. But my expectation was to at least get down and test this low. So that's how we started off. So if break-even trade, it was a little frustrating, but that's how it goes. So point is I need to either reevaluate my trade plan and say, am I going to leave my stop where it is and not de-risk on those small moves in the market. So my next trade was at 832 for an 11 tick loss. So looking back in retrospect, I'm wondering, am I kind of negatively affected by that and frustrated? So what happens is already price doesn't go down to test. We have this rejection here. My expectation was to go down and test that untested low from yesterday, which we can see on the 15 here, which we never did. So at this point, this is where I expected price to kind of come up here and test these levels at the 50-30. I think I jumped the gun a little bit because I looked at this. I believe that's when my next trade was 835, 832, which would be, I would have entered on this bar. So not much volume here. Went above these bar highs here. So I considered this a failure, but honestly, looking at it in retrospect, it wasn't not a very good entry at all. Not much support, not much structure. If that level was maybe down here and was holding this auction and this support here would be a little bit better, but it really wasn't. It was, again, hindsight is 20/20, and it's easy when you're looking at it after the fact. But I took the trade anyway, regardless, and so I entered here, and as you can see, time in trade was only 1 minute and 46 seconds, so it pretty much went up and ripped me out of the trade right here, and I took 11 tick loss there on that. So I'm trying to move my mic real quick. And so that resulted in that. So now I'm trying to get my bearings back and see what's going on and try to get back in the groove. And the problem is too, when you're not real happy with the results of how things go, for me anyway, I can get very stuck looking at these small minutia of every single bar, and you lose sight of the forest through the trees for the trees, and that's a dangerous thing, because pretty soon then you're just trading every bar high, every bar low, every breakout, and that doesn't work very well. So 857 is my next trade. 857, and that's way after up here after this continued break up here. So 857 I got long. and this was a breakout pullback trade. So my expectation was that price would work its way back down to here. And where I entered was right here at 25. So my expectation is there would be a reaction here. And since you see all this space too, this is the first test back to this area. And now, since we also didn't breach that yesterday's low, my anticipation is that we may start working higher here. So I wanted to get long. So what happened is I took very little heat on this trade. It went down to, let's see, 25. I only took, not that much heat on this at all. And my stop was about right down below that. And so I had it set at, I think at about 43, which is back to these bar lows here. So around there, I think I took it off at 43 for a nice 18 tick win. So that worked well. 5 minutes time in trade. 9:52 is my next, so over an hour. So price just continued to work its way up, and this is where even after that good trade, I just started to get a little bit lost in what I wanted to do. So let's go back to the 15 and see what I was working with. 9:52. So price is about, let's see, 9:52. So you have these real big imbalance moves that moves through here. The IB high, it just smashed right through that. So now I'm looking to, well, is the yesterday's value area low going to hold? And if not, which it didn't, we ripped right way up through the yesterday's point of control. And this is about where I'm looking to take my trade now. So my expectation is that this structure to the left here, we're going to reject this point of control here. So 9:52, I got short. Go back to the 3 minute. And this was not a good trade, honestly. I would even consider this probably an error trade. I'm trying to, the market just closed. I'm trying to catch this top here, after this big imbalance move up, which is never a good idea. Not only that, it's not a good failure. It's really not much of a failure of any kind. So I anticipated this little pin, especially on these real short time frame bars. They're just small moves, and they don't really mean anything. So I try to get short here, and you can see by the time, less than 3 minutes in time in trade, I got ripped out for a full loss on that. So that's a bad trade. And this is the thing about this accountability journal, because it would be so easy for me to just walk away from this and say, I don't want to do it. Because it's really hard for me to look at my mistakes that I make, especially in hindsight. They're so blaringly obvious now. At the time, they're not quite so obvious. I should not have taken this trade. There's not really much going for this trade at all. I could even say I'd be much more likely to say that was a better long trade than a short trade. So, and then again at 10:55. Next trade at 10:55, you can see here. So what we do is, let's go back to the 15 minute for a little more context. 10:55. So at this point, what I'm thinking, this looks like this is rejecting this value, this yesterday's point of control. 10:50. So I'm right about here, and where this profile for the day is on there too, and that changes over the day. That's not necessarily what it looked like at the time. So, and we can put a profile on this thing. And see what it probably looked like at the time. So at the time, it's about what it looked like. So 10:55, I was trying to get long again. So I swapped over. 10:55.
10.55, here we go. That's this trade right here. So trying to get long off this fill. Yeah, I remember it now. So this time, I was expecting another move up. We were pushing above the IB that first hour. We also have this thin area here, this thin area in the profile. So my expectation now is that we're going to continue to work our way up and test this overnight high, possibly this yesterday's value area high. 10.55, I got long. And I saw this was what I called this failure here. Right here. So this push down below, I was looking at this area. After this push up here, and I got long here at 51.16. And again, looking at this thin profile here, the price is likely to go down, especially with this imbalance move. The price can very easily trade through this thin area. I didn't have really any structure here to support a trade. So again, not a very good trade. And I got ripped out for a full loss at, I think my stop was at 51.01. Yeah, and that's where I got taken out. So at this point, not feeling very good about my read. Not sure what I'm expecting, because we didn't go up to test that value area high yet. My last trade was near the right around 12, and what I was looking at is trying to regain my read of context of the market. And what happened is, after we pushed up here, we came back down, and we have this failure right here, this failure of this area here. You can see where the buyer stepped in again for this move. So we have this failure here, failure of price here, and this is a little bit of a longer time frame trade. So as soon as we had this failure, I entered on this bar. You can't see it in the 15-minute bar, but when I was managing the trade, I entered at 51.18 here, right around here, 51.18. And what I was hoping for is to get a flush above to take out these highs. And what I was hoping for is a push above to break this high and this high. But what happened is, after I entered here, after we pushed through this bar high, there wasn't really very strong reaction from buyers there. It didn't look like it had much gas. So as soon as it pushed up above here, I didn't get any kind of a good push. And I was watching this. We can go over on, my mouse is not working very well. Look at this on Bookmap, because I'm also trying to manage these on Bookmap. And so all of it going on at the same time. And I also am trying to not look at Bookmap or my 1-minute chart as nearly as much, because it really tends to make you micromanage the trades and just mess with them too much. So you can see, here's that high that I'm watching. I want to watch this for the flush of this. And as soon as we get up into here and we break this, I'm hoping that we don't really get the flush that I was looking for. And then price kind of moves down here, and I'm wanting it to hold this. But at this point, after the flush of that high, if buyers were still strong, I felt like that should have went, and it didn't. So I got out of the trade. I think I took that off. I took it off at 36. So not bad. I think I managed it pretty well, considering it went only to like 41 or so. And then But it was a nice win, to end with a 17 tick winner felt good, especially on the last trade of the day. And you can see what happened after that. After that, it really just, this is the end of the day, but it's a good thing that I exited when I did, because this came all the way back to 51.14, which way below. So okay, so that's the 6 that I took for the day. Again, I felt pretty good about yesterday, and then to feel like I came in today not with a good context read, and I'm really gonna spend some time thinking about what I should have, if there's anything that I missed. I think I felt like I should have definitely paid more attention. I got a little fixated on this opening outside of value, and that we were going to probably break out of this and see more of a trending day down, and we never even tested that low. So I should have trusted a little bit more what I was seeing, and then looked at this as this rejection of this low, and that looking to get long again. My bias should have been more to the long side, and it was. I took some long trades, but I still wasn't convinced. So as far as that goes, just to continue to really not have any preconceived ideas. It's important to have what I want, what I feel like I need to see to take trades. But as far as my read, when something changes, I need to be dynamic and flexible about that. And today's a perfect example of that. I was feeling like it was almost just, more random. And but overall, this is my first week being back trading after a long time off. So I feel like keep my head straight and keep working. And now I have this weekend to think about it, and hopefully I'm gonna do some more reading and a little bit more studying, but also just try to relax and leave the market at the market, which is a very hard thing to do. Last time I was trading, I was spending so much time trading, and when I wasn't trading, I was studying the market. I was doing market replays, and I don't think it was very productive for me. And I still have that kind of that fear and that old mindset and mentality of I don't want to do that anymore. So maybe I have some bad habits as well that I need to work on and work out. But for now, I think that's it. Let's call it a day. And that's it. See ya.